Welcome to American Perspective with Judge Derwin Webb. I am Judge Derwin Webb. Normally I would say coming to you from the Fraser History Museum, but we are on location now. We're at the Pose Portrait Studio, and I have an opportunity to introduce and interview my guy, Mr. Charles Rice. Brother Rice, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. I'm glad you invited me on.
Man, I've been following your career for a long time. I know who you are. A lot of people may not, but I'm sure they do. At least they should.
Right.
You've been doing this for a little while now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you're from Louisville,
Right.
But tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, definitely born and raised in Louisville. I went to the public school system, Mazik, and I went to DuPont Manual, University of Kentucky graduate. Did a few years working for Walt Disney, and then just decided to start my own art career as a professional after I did that. And then COVID allowed me to bring a gallery here to sit still in Louisville. But I've been painting my whole life, so a lot of people in the community know me from doing murals and doing portraits and things like that. So I'm just happy to be an artist and be a professional artist. Is making money doing art,
right.
What you love.
Well, I'll tell you this, I know that there are a few people that know what they want to do basically all their life, or knew what they wanted to do all their life. When did you first realize that you wanted to be an artist?
You know what, it's crazy. I just had a conversation with my sister today about that. And I told her, people are trying to find different hustles and do things. When I was 5 years old, I know I wanted to paint. Like if you looked at all my book, my mom would say, go read a book. If you look at the pages, any of the blank pages was all my artwork. Like she encouraged me. She always took me to, the local art community centers and stuff to do paint. So I already knew what I wanted to do early. And I think that's made it easier for me because I've been on this track since I was a youth. So it just kind of, helped the hustle. You just kind of evolve my hustle, but my hustle's always been art.
Has it always been art? Did you ever think about anything else?
Well, when you get to a point where after you're in high school and you're going into college and you want to say, man, can I really make it as an artist? So, when I first went to the University of Kentucky, I actually, I wanted to get a degree in electrical engineering based on what people were saying, like you need to have a backup plan to be an artist. But that first year, oh man, it was terrible. So, I think not flunked out, but I was closer because I really wasn't engaged. So the following semester, I switched back to art. Next thing you know, sky's the limit. I was getting all kind of opportunities to pursue my art, and come to find out that fine artists can make just as much money or be as lucrative as an engineer.
Well,
so,
I'm going to get back to that, but I do want to ask a question. You talked about your mom for a second, talked about how she influenced you. Were there people in front, like for example for me, when I was growing up, the only judges I knew were Thurgood Marshall because you saw him on TV. But I did have someone to go to my church that became a judge at one time, so that was a major influence on me because I had a chance to see that person. Was there someone that kind of stuck out in your mind that helped you think about, I can be an artist. I want to be an artist?
Yes, and it's a great story. I did, not at an early age, probably when I was in middle school. So I lived in the east end of Louisville. I went to Mazik Middle School. And my mom had just moved me to the east. We were living in the west. And we were in these new apartments. And every day walking home from school, I would pass this studio and I was see big sculptures in there, and I was like, man, whoever that artist is phenomenal. And one day he was out there, and it was Ed Hamilton, one of the best artists in the city. So, and he's actually one of my mentors now. So every day coming from school, I would pass his studio and say, I want a studio. So I didn't directly have somebody that I could, talk to, but I had a vision on what I wanted to be, and it was because of Ed Hamilton had that studio right by my house, and that kind of made me say, hey, I could do this if he's doing it. Then I started to research Ed and got to see that, oh man, this dude's a big deal, and he's right here in this community. And later on in my career, matter of fact, we talk and text monthly. Later on in my career, we've had opportunities where we've worked together and shared opportunities together. So it just turns out that, if you have somebody, or if you just see something that looks like you are something, or you want to be somewhere, a visual will always help. And Ed was my vision.
Right. If you can see it, you can possibly be it.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Now, talk about your matriculation. You talked about from Mazik to Manual to that school in Lexington.
There we go. They set the bar.
What made you choose the University of Kentucky? No disrespect. You know, I'm a Louisville guy. But what made you choose the University of Kentucky?
Well, you know, I was in the Black Achievers program here, and you know, I always wanted to go away from home to go to school, and U of L and U of K were good opportunities, but I wanted to experience something outside of my family. And it was probably the best decision I ever made. Besides that rocky year trying to start out from being an electrical engineer, the Black faculty and community, once I decided to be an artist, really got behind what I was doing, and I had more visibility at the University of Kentucky. Like I said, I got the internship at Disney, ended up started working there after college and stuff. So it was a great experience. You know, I was away from home, so I had to really be a man and take care of stuff. You couldn't run home to mama down the street, you know, you're an hour away. So just going up there was a good experience for me. And then, you know, to deal with a smaller community of African Americans kind of helped me and understand, you know, other communities and racial situations that you might have to deal with, that you might not have to deal with. It just kind of built me. So yeah, I'm very thankful to go to the University of Kentucky.
Well, obviously you've been very successful since being there, and now you're professional.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the first award that you won? Do you remember the first award that you won?
You know what, I would say when I went to U of K, it was a professor, Frank, I can't think of his name, I'm having a brain fart, but he gave me my first show in the University of Kentucky. Faculty was invited, all that. That kind of propelled me to say, hey, I can do this. Now, from an award standpoint, some artists look at collectors. So I'm gonna say my biggest collector, I was invited to the Oprah Winfrey first African American art show in Chicago. One of my collectors was Angela Bassett, bought one of my pieces. So that was probably my first award to me because of who started collecting. And now I've had the opportunity to have numerous celebrities and sports figures and things collect, but that was probably my high point.
Was that at the point where you figured that you could do this professional, you could make a living off of doing this?
You know,
when did the light bulb actually go on?
You know, the light bulb went on when I got back from Disney. I moved back to Louisville. There is the largest African American art gallery in the country is right here in Louisville. It's called ENS Art Gallery. Now, I was looking forward to Walter Shannon, right? And that's my mentor, father. He's more of my father for real. Like we talk almost every week. We doing a show in Washington. But nevertheless, he gave me my first job in the frame shop. So when I first went to interview and I saw all that Black art, then it was on. Because then I started looking at the prices and what he was doing. And, you know, he didn't know I was an artist for over a year. I was just working in the frame shop, trying to learn how to frame my own work, trying to learn the business. And then, you know, so that was my first look at, oh man, these are some artist makers, and this guy's selling artists, and they got pieces in here, $1,000, $5,000, $20,000, you know. So that was my first real look at, you know, the possibility of being successful in being an artist.
You know, people always talk about the successes. Everyone wants to highlight things, especially in society, the way we have today, social media. You always see the highlights of people's lives.
Right.
You don't always see the down moments.
Right.
Can you talk about a time when you had a setback or anything that discouraged you from being the artist that you want to be?
You know, I think you have in art, I tend to have setbacks on what the community or the artwork that the community might want to accept. So, you know,
because I was going to talk to you about critics and things like that. But go ahead,
so,
go ahead.
So I think that once it was some few times that I had put some different style artwork out there, and then, you know, my community really didn't gravitate to that style or genre of the work. And I felt like, you know, man, maybe I'm not cut out to do this particular style or to even promote my art in my community? Do I need to go other places? So it's always tough being an artist because you have to create something and you also have to sell it to somebody, you know, so it's not a slam dunk. Like I never, you know, I've had 9 to 5s, but for the most part, I've been a serial entrepreneur. So I have to create something to sell it. And sometimes people don't like what you have. And it was a lull in my, you know, in my art career that I felt like maybe Louisville or, you know, maybe some of these smaller metropolitan cities aren't for me. So, so I did make some moves though, and that's what hustlers do or artists do.
Well, let me ask you this question. The reason why I'm asking this question is a little personal.
All
The
right.
reason why is because I have a son that's an artist also that has a lot of different ideas. And sometimes I see him get discouraged when someone doesn't like what he's putting out. How do you address those issues with those people? Do you address it head on or do you just pivot and go in a different direction?
Right. Well, if he's talking about individuals that might not like his work, everybody, art is in the eye of the beholder. That was nothing that really never detoured me with just an individual. You know, I'm thinking when I say I had some setbacks, maybe I've had an art show and the community didn't gravitate to the pieces, but individuals, no, you just push through that. But what you need to do is find a product, which is your art or a style of your art that the community or people might want to purchase, and then you have something that you might just want to do as well. So I've kind of been good at finding something that people like, but I'm gonna keep doing this too, but I need to make sure that, you know, my family's eating, so I'm gonna do something that these people like. And that's why I started doing airbrush t-shirts back in the day. I was actually taught myself how to, you know, I taught myself how to do websites and graphic design because, you know, you have to, if you want to be an artist, fine artist, you want to be self-contained, so you want to be able to market yourself. You want to be able to do a lot of stuff on your own, or you're going to be paying people to market, do a website, do my social media. No, like, I feel like I'm a self-contained unit, you know, and if I need to do a website for somebody because I might be short on something 1 month, then I got that ability to do that, and it's still art to me. You just have to, you know, be versatile in your creativity.
Right. You have the gallery. You got this spot right now. You do a lot of different things, a lot of different types of art. Where do you find your inspiration in the pieces that you produce?
You know what? I think if you want to, I think that having color gallery, I always had a vision of promoting local people, and the best way to do that was to do portraits of regular people. And I think that's was one of my biggest things. Like, I wanted to not just give awards to people that are doctors or lawyers, but let's give something that people can collect of their family or deceased people or their kids. And, you know, I think that's where, you know, that I tend to find a niche, because I wanted the community to collect something that was unique to theirs, to their family, and something that, you know, can be passed down from generation to generation, if that answers your question.
It does. Let me ask you this. A lot of people describe you in a lot of different ways. You know, you're an artist. You said you're a hustler.
Right.
You're a business owner. If you had to describe yourself in a few words, what would you consider yourself?
You know, I'm gonna say I'm just a creative hustler. Like, I really love art, and that's always gonna be my foundation. But like I said, I mean, I will do what people want, or I'll flow with the times. It's just like pose. You know, people are taking selfies and other things. Well, you know, that allows me to be creative with, you know, installations and things. So, you know, I'm giving my people what they want, you know, because
and I love the spot, by the way. But
appreciate it. Yeah, I just follow the trends, follow what people want, you know, and I'll still have my base collectors that like my contemporary abstracts and things. And, you know, historically, hopefully, if I'm recognized through history, that I'll be known for that, you know, contemporary abstract art. But in the meantime, I'm going to go with the flow, you know, just to to satisfy customers. And I get a kick out of any like I like everybody collecting different stuff. Like I just like people to have my work. And I look at a picture online and I see my piece behind them. It makes me feel good. Like I'm good enough to hang on other people's walls, and that's what drives me.
I was gonna say you're good enough to hang on my wall.
There you go, right.
Thanks to you, I got a piece in the back.
There you go. And I seen a piece online one day and it was in the back and I thumbs up. I'm like, it's one of my collectors. So good.
Let me ask you this. I know that you are based in Louisville. Where else are you thinking about going?
Well, I'm definitely, before COVID hit, I was in Chicago for a while, but then I settled down and opened the gallery here. But my next step is Indianapolis. Like, I think Indianapolis is a great market. I'm not saying they don't have a lot of artists. I'm saying I don't see a lot of Black art movement in that community, but they have a great population of African American. And not to say all my clients are African American, but I tend to, do things for my community. And I just think that's a great place. It's centrally located. And then the following year, I'll be looking at Nashville. So I kind of want Color Gallery to be that, franchise that gallery. Not where it's just my work. Like, I love other artists. I've had other artists in color. I want to promote other young artists and artists coming up as well. So I just want to make it a stay in some of the communities of color to give artists a vehicle to show their work.
And I'm going to ask you about that in a second, but I do have a question. How difficult is it being an artist of color?
I'm going to say it's very difficult, but it's not discouraging because someone like me that was introduced to Black art at an early age, I'm making the decision to be an African American artist where, people are always trying to cross over to that major, and that's fine. Hopefully that'll come one day. But right now, I'm just really just happy being a Black artist. So I don't get discouraged by other people not accepting the work because in my mind, I just think it's visibility. The more visibility I get, the better opportunity I get to sell to other clients that might not be in my community. And then some of my art, translates over. A lot of the abstracts, a lot of things, can go in everyone's home. I just did maybe about a year ago, I did Owensboro Health Hospital, huge abstracts. I did the whole wing, but then I just did a Norton's Hospital and I did their whole facility. So, I'm one of those artists, I'm not tied to one thing. Like I do what people want, and that challenges me creatively, not to get boxed into one style.
Well, you kind of touched on something earlier I want to kind of discuss a little bit. You talked about being in the East End and going back and going by Ed Hamilton's place and seeing what you could be. What do you think about the generation that's coming behind you, the next Charles Rice's? Do you have anybody that you're mentoring and trying to follow in your footsteps right now?
I have several. Like I have a young lady, her name is Maria Armstrong, that's been working for me in the gallery for 3 years, and she's actually considers me a mentor. I have a lot of artists in this community that reach out to me. And see, I'm one of those guys that I don't look at art as being a competitive type of thing. So I just like art. So if somebody has an art show going on, I'll post it on my page. Like, no artist in this community will say that, Rice isn't an advocate of what I'm doing because I actually like all the art. I know how hard it is to be a professional artist or to make it. So I try to promote it and go to shows and things for every artist. But I got a few people that are directly calling me saying, what should I do? Or how should I do this? Or people that are coming in. And then, I teach an art school in the summer for youth. Okay. So Norton's was one of our sponsors, and we were able to have youth between 5 and 10. So that gives me a direct link to really help them with their work, because that was the help I was getting from like the Boys and Girls Clubs and things. They don't have a lot of like when I was coming up. So to have an art school just puts me right with people who are interested in art.
You were talking about having the school for kids between 5 and 10 years old. What would you tell your 10-year-old self if you had to go back? What kind of advice would you give yourself in trying to get to where you are right now? What would you do different?
You know, I would tell, from an artistic standpoint, I would tell my 10-year-old self to paint every day or draw every day. That's something that sometimes you don't get to do. If you think about it, if I talk to all the professional artists that I look at, the biggest thing, when I was coming up, the biggest thing I would ask them is like, how often do you paint? Every day. So people think, you know, you can go into the studio and create music, you know, but you really, most of the real musicians and real artists are back there writing their lyrics every day, or, you know, they doing something every day. Do something creative every day. And, you know, I think I played sports and things, and that was fine, but I needed to find time for art every day. Now I do something art related every day. So that's about it, man. I was really homed in on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't do too much of basketball and art. That was it, you know? So I was locked in at an early age.
Okay, I want to ask you a few rapid fire questions. Just the first thing that comes to your mind, and you can explain if you want to.
Okay.
But first thing that comes to your mind, who's your favorite artist?
Ed Hamilton.
Favorite musical group?
I'm gonna say New Edition.
Okay, why New Edition?
Well, they're some of my collectors, but I just think
and I knew that too.
Yeah, but I just think the how they've been able to transcend over time, like they've been able to evolve, and they never gave up on their craft. Like they just stayed with it, like, and the epitome of black, and that was, you know, at my age, that was the group, super group, and now at this age, they still a super group. And really look at how many real black groups are out there that can really sing and do what they do. So, yeah,
okay, I do have to ask you this question. Okay, you got a choice between R&B, hip hop, and jazz. Which one you choosing?
Which one am I listening to while I'm working, or when I'm just
when you're working?
Hip hop all day, like, because I have a rhythm to the way I paint sometimes, and you know. Now, if I'm chilling, give me that jazz.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Give me that jazz, you know, definitely. And I think as I get older, I'm starting to get into that more jazz. But when I'm in the zone, I want to hear some Nas or some Jay-Z. You know, I want to hear Biggie or the Tupac.
Okay.
You know?
College sports or professional sports?
You know what? I'm a big UK basketball, football fan, but I love the NBA, and I could watch that every day. Like, I don't really watch. Once season starts, I'm on it every day. So I'm going to say professional right now.
Okay. Favorite destination to travel?
I'm going to say Nashville.
Nashville.
I love Nashville.
I would have never guessed that you want to stay 2 hours away.
Because I've been a lot of places around, but Nashville, something about the energy there, you know, it just, shoot. Okay. You know, I always have a good time. And most of this came from like the SEC tournaments and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of got.
Big UK.
Yeah, we only missed 1 year going down there. It was the COVID year. We was packed. The SEC tournament was canceled maybe 2 or 3 hours. COVID was just hitting, and we were already ready to go. We have been going 10 years straight. So, yeah. So I've been to all the, anytime we've been in the championship, we've been there. Even when we was at Houston in the nosebleeds at the very top, like me, I got one friend, and we have went to any Final Four that we've been in the last 15 years.
I got introduced to another big UK fan. We'll talk about that later.
All right.
Dream car?
Man, I like that Porsche Panamera, man. I mean, that's all I need right there.
Okay, when you are at home, you just want to just kind of chill, watch a movie, what's your favorite movie?
Man, I'm gonna say Harlem Nights.
Harlem Nights.
The color in that, boy, and the, you know, the artistry in that, that's phenomenal. Yeah.
Favorite quote? Something that you think about, you live by. Favorite quote?
Man, you know, I don't.
I'm gonna let you think about it for a second.
Yeah, that's kind of, you know what, I got all these hip hop flow things in my head, but I really don't have one, quote that I really live by.
Okay. Ideal person to have lunch with, lunch or dinner with.
I like
living or dead.
Living or dead?
Living or dead.
Living or dead, probably Ernie Barnes.
Who is that?
Ernie Barnes. You ever seen Good Times?
Yeah.
Ernie Barnes was the artist that did the piece for Good Times. Yeah. I love to sit with him because I like his style of work. Last
question, and I want you to talk about it for a second. How would you like for a person to remember you? Now, you're too young for a Lifetime Achievement Award, even though you've done a lot.
Right.
How would you want people to remember you?
I just want people to remember, I don't know if it's right, but I want them to remember my art. Like that I was a guy that tried to bring people to art, so I just think that, I tried to highlight local people, and this guy was affordable enough, and he did something different that allowed us to have some artwork unique to our house. So I just want to be remembered as an artist that just did what the people wanted me to do,
Okay, I said that was going to be your last question. I do have one more. We talked about the community before we went on air, talked about influences in the community.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think your impact on this community is?
You know what? I just think that I brought, and artists don't really typically want to, I'm an artist that just wants to do hard work, but I just think I just brought a nice flair to art, to the hip hop culture, from airbrushing, from doing other things. I just think that I just brought it to light a little bit more with color gallery and the big events and people getting celebrated. Like, I just thought I just put some sexy into the artwork,
And do you think you have an obligation to continue doing that?
Definitely.
Really. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes without knowing it, you have a responsibility to do things, and sometimes you have an obligation to do things.
Right.
I think you kind of have both.
Definitely.
The things that you brought to the table, you have an obligation to continue to do, but you also have a responsibility to do as well. And I think you've done all those things throughout your career, man. And I'm here right now with you because I see you as that person. And I want to thank you for being here, man. I want you to continue doing what you're doing because people are watching. People are watching everything that you do, and they are complimenting you whether you know it or not.
Man, I appreciate it.
Man, I want to say thank you for being a part of the program today.
All right.
The studio is phenomenal. At some point, give me a little tour.
There we go.
But man, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. It's good to sit down with black leadership. So you're doing a lot of great things for the community, and I'm looking at you too. So man, we just got to keep pushing because our youth need it.
I appreciate it, man.
All right.
And as we like to close the show, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I will say this. It doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter what I think, but at the end of the day, it's all a matter of perspective.
Man.
Brother Rice, thank you for being a part of this program today.
Much love.
All right.